Now, there was plenty more in that Trump interview with Nigel Farage for GB News. You can see the full interview here on Sky at 8:30 tonight. But let me share a couple of comments that I think are particularly newsworthy. First, listen to the former president addressing the many court cases and criminal prosecutions he's still battling in the run-up to the election.
It's done in third world countries, banana republics, never in this country. They're using the Justice Department. But so far, I'm doing very well. I mean, so far, actually, they're concerned because my numbers are higher than they've ever been, because the people in our country get it. They see what's happening. They get it. It's a corrupt government run by a very corrupt and incompetent man named Biden. Our country's gone to hell, and it's gone to hell fast.
Now, elsewhere in the interview, Trump attacks Harry and Meghan. He reassures Europe of his support for NATO. He claims Russia would not have invaded Ukraine if he was still in the White House, and he addresses the whole bloodbath controversy from the weekend. But the interview also turned to Trump's likely opponent, the incumbent President Joe Biden, who, by the way, was looking shaky as ever last night.
We drove out to the airport and put you on Air Force One. You said you had a prescription needed filled, and it was an American company that made it. I'd say, okay, let's fly to Toronto, or to Berlin, or to London, or to Rome, or any major city in America. I'll get you that same prescription filled in those cities for 40 to 60% less than it cost you at a pharmacy here.
London, Rome, or any major city in America? Really, this is typical, isn't it? But while Trump normally mocks Biden, it's not something he seemed to want to focus on in this interview.
Is he senile?
I don't know. I don't want to really get into it. I don't know that he is. Certainly, it's a terrible representative of our country. When you look at Putin and Xi and all these guys, Kim Jong-un, all people, we had no problem with Russia. We had no problem with China. China's now, like, taking over things. And he's a Manchurian candidate. If you look at Biden, he's actually a Manchurian candidate. China's paid him off. Everybody knows that. They've paid him off. They've given him millions of dollars.
Trump never holds back, does he? In fact, Trump says there would not be war in Ukraine or in Israel if he'd remained in the presidency, and therefore countless lives have been lost needlessly.
Think of how good, if the election weren't rigged, think of how good the world would be right now. You wouldn't have the Ukrainian problem. You wouldn't have, meaning the war between Russia and Ukraine. You wouldn't have the Israeli problem. You wouldn't have had the attack. It would have been fine. All of those people would be living on both sides. All of those people, hundreds of thousands of people in Ukraine, because I think the number's a lot bigger than they tell you. And then if you add the soldiers from both sides, you're talking about...
That's horrible.
A million, you're probably talking about over 1 million people, and that's only getting worse. It's only going to get worse.
Well, of course, we'll never know, and we hope things don't get worse. But one thing we do know for sure is that among those hoping that Donald Trump does not win in November will be our own ambassador in Washington, Kevin Rudd.